There's something here that shouldn't quite make sense. A compound sold to lower cholesterol can actually push it up in some of the people who take it. They didn't do anything wrong. It comes down to the genes they were born with. That compound is the plant sterol, a natural cholesterol-lowering molecule blended into spreads, yogurts, and fortified drinks. For most people, it works. For some, it does nothing. And for a few, it genuinely backfires. It isn't about willpower or diet or luck. A lot of it comes down to genes. Plant sterols and their cousins, the stanols, occur naturally in vegetable oils, nuts, and seeds. Their whole trick is their shape. They look almost identical to cholesterol, and that near-perfect disguise is the point. In the gut, they elbow cholesterol out of the way, competing with it for absorption and nudging the body to make and excrete less of it. Less gets in, more goes out, and on average, circulating LDL drops. It's why diets low in saturated fat and rich in plant sterols line up with a 20 to 25% lower risk of heart disease. Here's the headline you usually hear. 1 to 3 grams of plant sterols a day and LDL cholesterol falls by about 12 milligrams per deciliter. A clean, reliable number, easy to print on a label. But it's an average, and the average buries the part that matters most. Person by person, the response is all over the map. A dramatic drop for one, barely a flicker for the next, and for someone else, the wrong direction entirely, which leaves one obvious question: why? Cholesterol doesn't just drift in and out of the body, it moves through a series of gates, proteins that pull it in, build it, carry it, and flush it away. And behind each of those gates sits a gene. 5 of them do most of the talking. One decides how cholesterol is carried through the blood. One sets the pace of bile acid production. 2 control how much gets absorbed versus pumped back out. And 1 shuttles fat between particles. Change a single letter in any of these, and the whole result can tip. Whether plant sterols turn out to be medicine or money down the drain. The first is the courier. This gene builds the main protein that carries cholesterol and triglycerides around the body, and it comes in a handful of common versions. In a trial of 63 adults taking 2 grams a day, the version someone carried changed the entire outcome. One group's LDL fell by more than double what the most common version managed. Same dose, completely different payoff. The courier someone inherits sets how far cholesterol can fall. The next gene works more like a throttle. It builds the rate-limiting enzyme that turns cholesterol into bile acids, the body's main exit route for getting rid of it. In that same trial, the gap was even wider. One version dropped LDL nearly 10 times more than another, and one group, people carrying 2 copies of a particular variant, got essentially nothing. The throttle was stuck shut, and the plant sterols had nowhere to push. Now line them up together, because these genes never really work alone. They stack. Picture the best-case pairing, the most responsive courier and throttle in one person. Their LDL fell by the biggest margin in the whole study. The benefits compound. Now the opposite, the least responsive version of both in one person. Here, their LDL didn't just stall, it went up. The same supplement that helped one group most pushed the other the wrong way. That's about as clear as the evidence gets. For some people, plant sterols simply aren't neutral. 2 more genes stand guard at the gut wall itself. One pumps cholesterol back out of the intestinal cells. The other pulls it in, the doorman of absorption. Some versions of the outward pump respond beautifully. One group cleared almost 4 times more cholesterol than the rest. But the inward gate comes with a warning. One variant was tied to LDL and total cholesterol drifting up after plant sterols, not down. Same machinery, opposite endings, all riding on the letters someone carries. So where does this leave us? 2 grams a day does lower cholesterol, for most people, by a real, meaningful amount. But you're not most people. You're you. How much you respond, or whether you respond at all, was shaped by genes you've carried your whole life. And the future here is almost disarmingly simple. A quick cheek swab that tells you, before you spend a single cent, whether plant sterols are your medicine or somebody else's. So next time a label promises to lower your cholesterol, the real question isn't whether it works, it's whether it works for you.